All over again with me not muted. What's going on, everyone? Welcome on into the Cleveland Browns Report live show edition. Unfortunately, I wish I was a little bit more upbeat today. It's Tuesday. It's trivia day for me. It's a fun day usually. It hasn't been a fun Tuesday. It's unfortunately been a Tuesday, 2 days after a win, just fucking riddled and plagued with injury news. So we're going to break down all the injury news, talk about the implications and, the results and effects of these injury news. We'll talk about the Browns' playoff path, and we'll dive into a whole lot of other stuff as well. But I want to get everyone involved in the chat right now. Shout out your city for me down below in the comment section. Get those chats going here. And also, I saw we had a super chat pop in from Joshua Miller before we started filming. So we'll get that on screen for you, Josh, in just a moment. But light up the chat right now. I want to know where everyone is watching from. I've never heard of Belly Shot, Ohio. That's a new one. Is that in, near Cincinnati? By Columbus, maybe? Maybe Toledo? I'm not sure what Belly Shot, Ohio is. That's a first. The whole chat is coming from my neck right now. And I don't blame you guys. A little bit tardy today. We had to make some audibles due to the Maurice Hurst injury news, and then it was just kind of slow-moving, trying to get all of our pieces in a row, and I didn't want to rush something and have it be a bad product when we could just wait the extra 5-10 minutes and make sure we get it done right the first time. So, I'm sorry. Highland Heights, Warren, Ohio. We got Delvin, Ohio. Rock Creek, Ohio. Greenville, Ohio. Delaware. Living Room in South Jersey from Jersey Dog. Ryan. Dayton, Belly Shot, Ohio. Let me laugh. Mark Stevenson. What's going on, Mark? Hope you're having a good day, man. Canton, Ohio. Football Hall of Fame City. Defiance, Ohio. New London. Toledo. Cincinnati. Hudson. Is there anyone watching not in Ohio other than Jersey Dog? Usually we get a good-sized dog pound from across the country, but right now I feel like it is just only the Buckeye State being represented here. Levi Mayfield, ready to jump in Lake Erie with me, Petey. What did I say for the Lake Erie bet? I'm not trying to talk my way out of it. I'm just trying to remember. I think I said if the Browns make the Super Bowl, regardless if they win or lose, I would do a polar plunge in Lake Erie. Does that sound accurate? I think so. All right. Joshua Miller, quick $5 super chat. Week 18 wild card spot locked up, but have a chance for the division title. Do we go all out for the division or rest for the first round due to injuries? If you're in week 18 playing against the Bengals, and let's say you are 10-6 at this point, right? You can go 11-6 or go 11-7. I would say you go for the whole enchilada. You go for the 11-6, even if you have a wild card spot locked up, because the Browns on the road, it's Jekyll and Hyde compared to the Browns at home. So sure, if you want to get invited to the dance, by all means, sit your starters. Be a forgettable playoff team. There are a lot of teams that make the playoffs that lose in the first round, and we kind of forget they even made the playoffs that year. If you want to make some noise at the dance, well, let's go for a home game. Let's give this fan base a home game. I'd go for it, Josh. I would risk the injuries. Appreciate your super chat as Raging Bull, all-time roller coaster. Show me the producer today. Abracadabra, Trizzy Trace is on screen.
What's going on, Browns fans?
Woo! This your burner?
No,
you
it is
super
not.
chatted to get yourself on screen?
No, I did not, unfortunately. I should have, though. I could throw one in from my burner. What's up, Raging Bull?
Raging Bull, we got Trizzy Trace on the ones and twos today, the best in the biz. So appreciate you showing the producers some love. I think there's probably a little bit of misconception of what Chat Sports is like in terms of how the sausage is made. And hey, it's a team effort here. I can't do what I do without Trace and all the other very talented producers we have. So it's always nice to show the producers some love. It's kind of like at the end of the musical when the cast points to the pit. You know what I mean? They're like, you guys are the best.
You
and we're
did it too.
And we're sitting can't see fucking shit down there. All right. Well, what you can see are some awesome deals over at Factor. So today's show is being made possible by Factor because this bustling holiday season, you might be looking for nutritious, flavorful meals on jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service, can help you eat well for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle while tackling all your holiday to-dos. Treat yourself to high-quality, delicious meals over the holidays. Choose from 35-plus chef-crafted meals every week that support a healthy lifestyle and meet your meal preferences, whether it's calorie smart, vegan and veggie, protein plus, and more wholesome options. Head to factormeals.com/BrownsChat50 and use code BrownsChat50 to get 50% off. That's code BrownsChat50 at factormeals.com/BrownsChat50 to get 50% off. That link is in the comments and description of today's video. All right, let's get the audience back involved here. Predict the score for me. Browns versus Bears. I always love when you get like the AFC North versus the NFC North. Right? There's a little bit of
Who
like
runs the North?
You know, it's kind of like that Scooby-Doo episode where they have the cyber episode.
Yeah.
Where there's the other Fred, the other Scooby. It's like we're both North teams, but different conferences.
Yeah.
But so similar at the same time.
It's like the Spider-Man meme. It's the point.
Let's see. Cool guy, 20-17 Browns. Pancakes. What's going on, Pancakes? 35-7. What's your favorite kind of pancake?
Dude, I'm a sucker for blueberry pancakes. Ooh. Like buttermilk blueberry pancakes, I love them.
I can't pass on chocolate chip.
Chocolate chip pancakes are elite too.
I love bacon pancakes too. Get the bacon bits in there. That's good shit.
Oh yeah. Have you ever had a bacon donut? Like
that's my go-to.
Those are the best.
A maple covered bacon donut.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Kimball, 27-17 Browns. Volta Skull, 40-7 Browns. Ken G, 25-15 Brownies. Brownstown, 28-10. Ryan Chowdhury, 40 points for Joe Flacco. Ryan thinks a 40 burger is coming up. All right, we're going to talk about the injury news in just a moment, but we do have to acknowledge, I think, a difficult conversation that none of us really want to have. And hey, you're not a Browns commentator. Like, this is not your profession necessarily. So if you're just a Browns fan, you are more than welcome to bury your head in the sand and not acknowledge the fact the Browns are looking really good with Joe Flacco, and some say better than with Deshaun Watson at times. So you had to pick a quarterback. Let's say Deshaun Watson was touched by God and his shoulder was healed overnight. Who would you rather have? I'm going to go with Deshaun Watson. One, we have no reason to believe the Browns' offense would not have been just as good as it was on Sunday against the Jags with Watson at the helm versus Flacco. We have seen Watson play well this year. In fact, this team has played better with Deshaun Watson, right? Offense, defense, special teams. I know Deshaun is not on the field for defense. He's not kicking the field goals for Dustin Hopkins, but he's getting Dustin Hopkins into field goal range. He's giving the defense plenty of time to rest by not going 3 and out. So I would go with Deshaun Watson. Yes, this is an argument that's kind of a silly one to have because we can never have this question answered, so no one can ever be proved right or wrong, but we'll still get mad at people for having different opinions. But I'd rather roll with Deshaun Watson. Pancake says 4. Time Man says 4. Let's see. AFX says 4. Colleen Helton says 4. We have Mark saying 28-7 for the Browns. Fat Gaming says 4. Christopher Stofira, 15, looked a lot more comfortable on the field. I mean, there's no question that Joe Flacco has looked really good. And it's one of those things where I don't know if anyone else has like dealt with this, but if you have a coworker or friend come up to you and be like, hey, the Browns looking really good with Joe Flacco, better than Watson. And you're kind of at that intersection where you want to go, thank you for the compliment, but it's sort of a backhanded compliment because you're dissing my other quarterback in the process, and I don't appreciate that. So now I have to actually bash on my starting quarterback so that the real starting quarterback looks good, right? You kind of get caught in that no man's land where you're like, I don't like this. So I would still roll with Deshaun Watson. I outlined the reasons. The team looked better with Watson at the helm. I mean, Flacco is technically 1-1 as a starter, and I think there is something to Joe Flacco's playing elite right now. You know who was also playing elite for a little while? Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs just got benched today, right? Linsanity runs happen in sports, but they always end. And hopefully this is not asking too much of Flacco, for the next 4 games to continue this great run. But I'd rather have Watson. That one seems pretty clear to me. All right, here we go. We're going to have a mailbag at the end of the show. So get those questions in, by the way. Use hashtag Browns in the chat. That way our software can pull the questions and put them on screen. Or you can super chat like Josh and like Raging Bull have done. And we'll start the mailbag off with Joshua Miller's question. So get those questions in via super chat or mailbag or hashtag Browns. And if you do super chat, we guarantee it goes on screen. Coming up on today's show, though, the latest news and rumors and a lot of news on injury news. And then we're going to talk about the playoffs. Playoffs! Talking playoffs, baby. Playoff path, odds, all that good stuff. And then, like I was just mentioning, that mailbag. Okay, we are at 28 likes. That's a slap in the face for a YouTuber. Not going to lie. That's a cold plunge.
And we got to get to 40 at least.
That's a cold plunge right there, right? That's when you think the shower water is going to be hot. And you're like, shitty hotel.
Bad hotel, bad
right,
water pressure.
Where you're like, you keep putting your hand in, like, I don't think it's getting warmer at all.
No,
we're still here.
Crappy water pressure, so it makes it even colder.
So we're at 33. Can we get up to 40 likes to start the show? 40 likes, 7 likes away. Jersey Dog, we have Brent Payne in the chat. Let's go, Brent. 6 likes away. Mark saying Joe Flacco's doing great. Mark, you're not wrong, dude. You're not wrong. And that's one of these instances where we can bicker all we want. We're never going to be able to prove who's right or wrong, right? I mean, if Flacco goes on to win the Super Bowl, you're going to have a fraction go, well, couldn't Watson have won the Super Bowl too? And you're like, you're not wrong, but we know one guy did. And if he doesn't, then we'll say the other guy did win the Super Bowl. So 2 likes away. 2 likes away from 40 likes. Let's go. Here we go. 2 likes away. Who's going to be the final person to like the video? 39 likes, 1 like away. 40 likes, and we start the show off with a lot of important injury news here. 43 likes. Mr. Gerard, are we ready to jump in? Let's do it. Another day and another injury. So, unfortunately, Tuesday, December 12th, is a lot like every other day this year. More injury news, as Jordan Schultz was the first one to report. Jedrick Wills had arthroscopic surgery this morning on his knee and will miss the remainder of the season. I thought that was going to be the only dagger to the gut. But no. Maurice Hurst tweeted out himself, my 2023 season is over, and the frustration is unbearable. However, I am grateful to my teammates, coaches, staff, and the city of Cleveland for welcoming me and making me feel part of this family. I'll be back better than before. I mean, this one, no injury is good. And Maurice Hurst is not technically a starter, but he's been having an incredible season. He's been having the best year of his NFL career. He's been a part of a really good 4-man rotation on that defensive line. Who also has injuries there with Jordan Elliott. And unfortunately, the Browns are without Hurst for the rest of the season after what sounded to be okay injury news yesterday from Stefanski. No, it turns out Hurst is done for the year. But let's talk about losing Jed Wills for a moment, because we knew that he was going to miss maybe another week or so. Didn't think he'd be missing the rest of the season, though, right? The expectation was for him to return from short-term IR. Ultimately, he had to get knee surgery. They deemed it a success, and he should be ready to roll for the start of 2024, which means Garyon Christian and James Hudson are your 2 starting tackles. And there's no reinforcements coming. I mean, when you lost DeJuan Jones, you thought, sure, that's obviously sucks and what the fuck, but at least we're getting Jed Wills back, and that can kind of soften the blow. Oh, no. There's no reinforcements, right? This is Napoleon at Waterloo. There's no one coming, dude. It's the Prussians and the British, and you're screwed. I mean, Jedrick Wills this season has not had maybe the best year of any tackle out there, or really close to it, but still, he's better than these 2 players in Christian and Hudson. That's for sure. I mean, Jed Wills ranking 67th out of 84 qualifying players according to Pro Football Focus. I mean, look where Garyon Christian and James Hudson are ranking in a moment, and I mean, they're not anywhere near really 67. Christian, his ranking is 75 out of 83. James Hudson's the worst tackle in football. I mean, you have 2 bottom 10 tackles starting for your team right now. And I believe in this Browns coaching staff to figure out a way to work around this obstacle. They've done it all season long. And every single time I think this injury is going to be the one that breaks the camel's back, the Browns go out there and win another game. So what the hell do I know? But at some point, we have to acknowledge there might be an injury that's just too much to overcome. And being down your starting 2 tackles from week 1 to being down your top 3 tackles when you lose DeJuan Jones filling in for Jack Conklin, that might be one with the less than, let's say, super-duper athletic QB and Joe Flacco might be too much to overcome. So if you guys want to guess what's tomorrow's show, yeah, it's free agent offensive tackles. We'll see who's a free agent that the Browns could pick up the phone and bring in for at least a workout. Alex Leatherwood, former first-round pick by the Raiders, he is on the Browns practice squad. So maybe they bring up Leatherwood if he has been practicing well all season. My suspicion is that'll be one of the first things they do if they really want to try and find a replacement. I mean, I don't think they're going to go out and find a new starting left or right tackle. But if Hudson or Christian were to get hurt, I mean, you are on thin ice right now. There's not a whole lot of other people out there that can step in at tackle. So it'll be interesting to see what if the Browns decide to move Petonio to tackle, right? And if Posick is healthy, which, by the way, no update on Posick still, maybe you put Nick Harris at left guard or right guard, and you keep Posick at center. Try to get the best starting 5 offensive line combination possible, even if people are not playing in their usual positions. Now, speaking of practice squad elevations, Jake Trotter tweeted this out this morning. Browns calling up defensive end Sam Kamara to the active roster. So when I saw that, I initially was like, oh, cool for Sam. Oh, wait. But why? Whose spot is he taking on the roster? Maurice Hurst. So, knew an injury was kind of coming when I saw that. Just didn't know to who. And unfortunately, it's Mo Hurst. All right, let's jump into some rumors now on today's show. First segment. Flacco Fever a thing? Is it happening right now? Oh, yeah. It is yellow fever, Philadelphia 1790s all over again. This is a real pandemic right now across the city of Cleveland, and a good one for the first time in, 3 or 4 years. But Joe Flacco fever is very real right now. You look at his 2 game logs between Week 13 against the Rams and Week 14 against the Jags. Guy threw for 311 yards and 3 touchdowns against Jacksonville. Got David Bell his first touchdown. Got David Njoku his first multi-score game of his NFL career. I mean, Joe Flacco is setting the Cleveland skyline on fire right now. Flacco, in my eyes, and the way I think all of us have seen him on the field, he is playing like a 16-year vet when it comes to what's going on up here and his decision-making and his arm strength. But he looks like a rookie. Like, the way he just celebrates with his teammates. Guys he's still learning first names of. He's running up and down the field like they are lifelong best buds. So to see him out there, I mean, Sergio Dip style having the time of his life, it's awesome to see that for Joe Flacco because he thought he was done in the NFL. He talked about how no one gave him a call all year. He kept staying ready. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And when he got the call to come to Cleveland, sure, it's probably a little bit awkward going to play for the Browns after he tormented them for so many years. But he does know one thing, and that's how to win in Cleveland. I mean, here are his career stats, whether he was with the Ravens, the Jets, or the Browns. He is 10-2 as a starting quarterback, whether he's on the Browns or against the Browns, playing in the city of Cleveland, 18 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, averaging over 230 yards a game. And he's got that gunslinger mentality, so sure, there might not be accurate passes downfield. But Joe Flacco, I think it is contagious. It is evident that he is out there and he is having a resurgence in his career. And one thing that I love about Flacco right now is he keeps mentioning how he's doing this in a way for his kids. Because initially I had a tinfoil hat on thinking, is Flacco a double agent for the Ravens? No, Flacco is playing in front of his young kids who, back when he was playing with the Ravens in his heyday, either they weren't born or they don't remember him playing. But now he's got kids who know what's going on. They know football, right? They're older. And so to see their dad out there kicking ass and taking names, well, that's giving him a lot of inspiration to go out there and play his best ball. So with that being said, if you had to pick a quarterback right now, who would you pick? I think it's easy to stick your head in the sand and go like, I don't want to acknowledge this awkward predicament that the Browns are in, which is Joe Flacco's playing really well. And some might say he's playing better than Deshaun Watson did this year. It's only been 2 games, and we've seen quarterbacks go on nice little stretches, so I want to see a bigger body of evidence. Like, People thought Josh Dobbs was the next Hall of Fame quarterback for the way he played in Arizona and in Minnesota. The guy got benched today. Let's pump the brakes on the idea of Flacco being better than Deshaun Watson after 2 games. I would still roll with Deshaun Watson. This team has played better with Watson. This team won more games with Watson, of course. And I think Deshaun Watson would be a better quarterback right now over Joe Flacco if healthy. Second story we're going to get to here, Grant Delpit. Is he going to go to injured reserve? I'm going to give this one 2 Bernie heads. So Mary Kay has been talking up some chatter about the potential of Delpit going to IR. And we'll expand on that in just a moment. But really quickly, I want to tell you guys about our awesome sponsor today. And in fact, looking at the menu right now, the loaded bacon chicken, shredded chicken is delicious, can confirm. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service, can help you eat well for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. Looking for calorie-conscious options over the holidays that don't skimp on flavor? Try delicious, dietitian-approved, calorie-smart meals with around or less than 550 calories per serving. Or need an extra boost to support your wellness goals and feel your best during the holidays? Try Protein Plus meals with 30 grams of protein or more per serving. So do yourself a favor right now. Head to factormeals.com/BrownsChat50 and use code BrownsChat50 to get 50% off. It's super convenient, it's super easy to use, and it's super delicious. That's code BrownsChat50 at factormeals.com/BrownsChat50 to get 50% off. So let's expand on Grant Delpit potentially going to injured reserve. So Mary Kay has speculated that Delpit would be a candidate to go to IR as he deals with a groin injury suffered in the Week 14 win, which, of course, it's just like a kiss of death. If you get an extension midseason, the next game you get hurt. And, of course, after signing a 3-year, $36 million extension I'm a big fan of, he went down with a groin injury, and Delpit could potentially miss a game for the first time since 2021. Didn't miss a snap all of last year, hasn't missed a game this year, and now we might lose Delpit for the rest of the regular season. Here's what MKC said. The Browns, of course, hope that Delpit makes it back for this pivotal home stretch, but he's a candidate for injured reserve, meaning he'd have to miss the final 4 games. Well, the Browns are already thin at safety, right? Rodney McLeod's been on IR for a few weeks now. Juan Thornhill is battling a calf injury that just won't go away. It's going all the way back to week 1 of the season. So that leaves you with a former UDFA last year, DeAnthony Bell, and the UDFA this year, Ronnie Hickman. So if the Browns truly are down, not just their starting 3 tackles, right, in Conklin, Wills, and DeJuan Jones, but also Thornhill, Delpit, and McLeod, it's going to be a UDFA show at the back end for Jim Schwartz in Bell and Hickman. Hopefully Delpit does not miss much more time, but that's a big hopeful, right? He's dealing with a groin injury. I initially thought, hey, if Stefanski says on Monday they don't have a concrete answer, that's one of those no news is good news situations. And then Tuesday rolled around, and I watched the Browns lose Jed Wills, their starting left tackle, and Maurice Hurst, one of their key defensive linemen on the interior, for the rest of the year. So maybe no news is good news on Monday, just doesn't always work as well as I hope. But it's interesting because the Browns IR team is growing. In fact, it's growing so much, there's not even enough room on my graphic sheet to add Maurice Hurst, who just got added to injured reserve. In fact, the Browns IR team is making $51.1 million. That's a fifth of Andrew Berry's available cap space. I mean, imagine if you went up to Andrew Berry. Imagine if you went up to any GM or any business owner and goes, hey, how much will you plan to spend on your product or on players this year? Well, I'm going to be Uncle Sam, and I'm going to take a fifth of it. That's going to really hinder your ability to do a good job. So credit to Andrew Berry and Stefanski for having an 8-5 ball club right now, despite having a fifth of their payroll on injured reserve. And with that, we transition to this. Should the Browns extend Kevin Stefanski? I'm going to give this one 2 Bernie heads. And it's not because I don't think Stefanski's doing a great job. He's doing a tremendous job. I just don't know if right now, December 12th, is the right day to extend Kevin Stefanski. Here's why. Stefanski and Andrew Berry, in my eyes, they have earned contract extension. They have shown us they are very good at their jobs, and they sure might not be the best head coach and the best GM in the entire National Football League, but who are you going to get that's better? They're doing a great job. I view them as guys you want in the building in Berea for the next decade or so, all right? But they are not players, and there's a big difference, right? So we should not approach this conversation like they are players, right? You extend Grant Delpit now because if Delpit balls out the rest of the season, well, his price tag just went up a whole lot when he goes into free agency. But you extend him now so he never gets to free agency. Have you ever heard of a coach going in free agency or a GM in free agency in the last 20 years, signing with another team? No. I believe Kevin Stefanski, if I remember correctly, signed a 5-year contract when he was hired by the Browns in 2020. So it's not like Stefanski's going to be a free agent anyway after this year. So I think this is one of those situations where you don't become a prisoner of the moment. And like we saw with Delpit, extend them in the middle of the year. And if things go south the rest of the year, we're all going to be thinking, I can't believe the Browns extended them right before they lost the last 4 games of the season, God forbid. If the Browns finish with 10 wins, 9 wins, with 4 different starting QBs, I think Kevin Stefanski should win Coach of the Year. And yes, I would love to see Stefanski and Berry extended after the season. I don't think mid-season is a good time to do it. I think it just can create some bad mojo, right? Some, jinxed ya. You want to extend your coach? Football gods are going to come down with 4 straight losses to end the year, and you're going to want to reconsider that at the end of the season. Let the rest of the year play out, and then extend them. So grade Kevin Stefanski this season as a head coach. I'd give him an A. I mean, the Browns having 8 wins with 4 different starting QBs. Right before we started filming, we were hanging out in the bullpen here at Chat Sports, and the Vikings announced they're going to Nick Mullins, Browns legend, for one game or for the next game for Minnesota. And one of my coworkers was like, has any team started 4 QBs this year? Right? Because the Vikings started Kirk Cousins, Josh Dobbs, Jaron Hall, and now Nick Mullins. And I go, the Browns, and they have 8 wins. And everyone's acting like Kevin O'Connell should win this award. How about Kevin Stefanski going with the same issues and having a better record and more injuries outside just quarterback? So I would give Kevin Stefanski an A coaching grade here. I think Stefanski has done a tremendous job. He has shown us something that we wanted to see this year. And that was, stop being a fucking nerd. Like, stop being addicted to the analytics and sometimes have a little bit of a gut feeling with the way the game is going. And this year he's coaching with that tenacity, right? This year he's got a better, better grip and better hold on this locker room, making sure no one checks out just because Deshaun Watson and Nick Chubb and all 3 starting tackles are gone for the year. No. Kevin Stefanski's done a tremendous job of keeping this locker room intact. Before we get on out of here, I do want to show some love, because I have borrowed enough of your time today, to our Week 14 Watch Party legends. So the MVP from our Week 14 Watch Party against the Jags is, without a doubt, Jeremy Stallman. Boys and girls, if you don't know how to bring your A game to a watch party, go study Jeremy Stallman, because the guy is going to put out teach tape that they're going to show at the draft for years to come. Jeremy, what you did on Sunday is something that people dream of, and they never quite get to. Incredible performance by you, Mr. Stallman. The All-Pro selection goes to TJ Showman Golf. I mean, you want to make a statement to begin the game? That's TJ Showman Golf. TJ might be the new Josh Cribbs, right? He's coming to the chat hot. He's getting people on their toes before kickoff. He's getting people ready. You ever been at a party when it's dying down a little bit and that one guy walks in and everyone gets off the couch and it's like, let's go play Pong? That's TJ right there. And then finally, our Pro Bowler, Jacob Kistner. Jacob Kistner, week in and week out, is the morale of the chat, right? He is the administrator of the chat along with Ty Man the Buckeye, making sure everything is moving along smoothly. Jacob, I can't thank you enough. I want to give the game ball to Kathy Stuckey. Kathy has been there week in and week out, and she's not looking for credit. She's not a me guy. Kathy does not have a red jersey on. Kathy wants to go out there in the heat of August, and she wants to do 2-a-days because she is committed to winning. That's Kathy. That's the game ball. And finally, the sleeper is Jarrett Roush and Nevada Coke. An unbelievable duo. There's Michael and Pippin, right? You've got so many great duos out there. Batman and Robin, and Jarrett and Nevada. You two, if anyone's having trouble with their loved one, go talk to Jarrett Roush and Nevada Coke, because the sleeper to watch for is what these two are up to when no one else is looking. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate everyone for taking time out of their day to come hang out with us here. Hit me up on Twitter at Matthew Petey if you want more Cleveland Browns content. Here we go. Tim Green's in the house. What's going on, Tim? Let's see. Mike says A. Ryan says A+. We have Tom saying go Browns. Cool guy called Zone. I'm sorry, I was a little tardy today. I felt really bad. I never want to upset cool guy. He's giving Stefanski an A. Christopher, B-. Explain yourself. 8-5 with 4 different starting QBs. And you think it's a B-? What team are you watching? I don't know if you're watching the... I think Christopher might be like stuck in DVR prison. He might be watching like 2017 Browns football. Christopher, help.
Baker Mayfield would be a really good addition for this 2017 team.
Ken G says A. Brownstown says A. Would you do Baker first overall?
I'd think about it, yeah.
That Wyoming quarterback's pretty good. Josh something.
Is it
Andrews.
Josh Adams or something?
Allen,
that's who it is.
Yeah. He could be one to watch for. I'll tell you who I don't like. The USC QB.
Oh, not a fan.
Sammy Darnold. Sam Darnold.
Yeah, Darnold, that guy. He's not good.
No bueno.
I feel like a team is going to make a mistake. Like this
Can I give you a sleeper?
Such a Jets move.
Can I give you a sleeper?
Yes.
How about the Louisville QB, Lamar Jackson?
Dude.
I don't think he's a passer though. He might be a good like running back or wide receiver.
See, he's too small though. He's
Yeah.
very, very skinny.
That was some awful comedy. Awful attempt at comedy. Denise Graham, B-. Harold Anderson says A. Mr. Eagle says B. Okay. Christopher, too many trick plays. I understand that every once in a while Stefanski gets too cute with it, but he got cute with it on Sunday, and it led to David Njoku touchdown on a 3rd and short situation when the Browns showed run, everyone thought run, and they went Njoku deep for, like 40-plus yards for a touchdown. All right. Mailbag coming up in just a little bit. Ask us anything, or if you have a hot take you want to share, you can super chat. We guarantee it gets on screen. But hashtag Browns and producer Trace will just pick his favorite questions out of the chat. But if you want to support the show, super chats always go a long way. Are we ready to jump into our next segment, Mr. Gerard? Okay. Let's do it. Let's talk playoffs. Let's do it. Let's talk playoff, baby. We're going to check out the updated playoff picture for the Browns in just a moment. But if you want to keep the good times rolling, hit that sub button. Because I was looking at the YouTube analytics, and in Week 13, when the Browns lost in the City of Angels, we picked up 426 subs that week. Week 14, come back home, beat the Jags, 499 subs. So I can't guarantee subbing has a correlation to winning, but YouTube might say otherwise. Now let's talk playoffs on today's show. We're going to run through a couple of different scenarios for the Browns. I'll give you my ultimate playoff prediction at the end for the AFC and NFC. But let's at least set a bit of a primer here by looking at the updated AFC playoff picture after the Dolphins choked it away against the Titans. The Ravens currently hold the number 1 seed at 10-3. The Browns hold the best wild card seed, number 5 at 8-5, which actually puts them on a collision course to replay against the Jags, an 8-5 team, in what would be a matchup down in Duval County. Now, the remaining schedule for the Browns, they have home against the Bears in Week 15, a 5-8 Bears team. They go to Houston in Week 16 on Christmas Eve to play a Texans team that just lost to the Jets. C.J. Stroud is in concussion protocol. They might not have Stroud, and Davis Mills does not scare me. Stroud definitely makes me a bit nervous. Week 17, home against the Jets. And then Week 18, they round out the year in Cincinnati against a 7-16 that has maybe the best quarterback in the NFL right now, Jake Browning. ridiculous stuff that Browning is doing in Cincinnati. Now, New York Times puts out their playoff simulator, and here's what the numbers crunched out. Make the playoffs for the Browns, 86% chance of happening. Win the division, 11% chance of happening. So Browns are definitely not dead when it comes to winning the AFC North. And we'll kind of talk about what needs to happen for the Browns to win their first AFC North title in team history. But let's get through a playoff path first, starting with a wild card path, right? If you just want to know, Petey, what do the Browns need to do to at least make the playoffs, right? Just to get in the dance, and I'll be happy with getting into the playoff path, getting into the wild card spot. Well, we can run through what needs to happen and what we're looking like here. If the Browns go 2-2 in the next 4-game stretch, 99% chance they are in. If they get to 10 wins, I can't actually say with absolute certainty that a 2-2 finish will get them to 100% chance of making the postseason, but pretty much you win 2 of these next 4 games, you are in. Now, when we look at the current just mess that is all the mid-playoff teams right now, you've got 9 teams that either have 8 or 7 wins, okay? 9 teams with either 8 or 7 wins. Remember that for a moment. Because if we go back in time to this week last year, there were only 5 teams after week 14, 2022 that had 8 or 7 wins. So there are 4 more teams in the mix, in the conversation, if you will, in the hunt, and that's going to make it a lot more complicated. That's going to make it a lot more difficult. That's going to make it where 9 wins, and I've said this all year long, it might not get you in the big dance. I also want to share this stat here, this graphic here, because look at the Jets, look at the Titans. They were 7-6 last year. There are a lot of 7-6 teams right now, and they finished 7-10. So I know right now it might not seem realistic that some of these teams won't win another game, but it does happen. So just because you've got a lot of 7-win teams, don't assume they're all going to go at least 1-3. I could very well see the Texans losing out, right? Even a healthy C.J. Stroud couldn't take down the Jets on the road for a majority of that game in New York. If they lose Stroud for a week or 2, maybe they don't win another game. Maybe the Colts kind of run out of magic. Maybe the fucking Steelers, who suck, don't win another game, by the way. Now, there are some key matchups coming up here I want you guys to keep an eye on. Week 15, the Steelers play at Indianapolis. So 2 current playoff teams clashing on Sunday. Someone's going to win, someone's going to lose, and that loser's going to fall out of the playoff picture. Cowboys go to Buffalo to take on the Bills. That could be a loss for the Bills to kind of get them out of the playoff mix. The Bengals go to the Steelers in Week 16. You have a pair of 7-6 current teams right now facing off there. The Bengals also go to the Chiefs in Week 17. So if Cincinnati loses one of those 2 games, that'll make it a bit more difficult, of course. Week 18, the Texans at the Colts. 2 7-6 teams going at it. So one of those 2 teams might be a win-and-in situation in Week 18. And the Bills, they wrap up the season in Miami in what looked to be a sealed shut, easy division for Miami. What if Buffalo goes into Week 18, 1 game back? If they win that, they sweep Miami, and they would win the AFC East. So give me a dark horse for the playoffs. My dark horse, the Rams. 3-4 weeks ago, I said, time to start paying attention to L.A. Right before the Browns played the Rams, I was like, they got Matthew Stafford back, Cooper Kupp is healthy, and Aaron Donald is still Aaron Donald. I'm going to take those 3 guys over Jordan Love, Christian Watson, and anyone in the Packers defense, over Gardner Minshew and the Colts. I think the Rams are going to be a sneaky dark horse team, especially over the other NFC wildcard teams like the Vikings, for example, the Falcons, the Saints, or the Bucks. All right, second playoff path element here. What if you're wondering, Petey, what do the Browns have to do to win the AFC North? I'm going to answer that question for you in just a moment. But I do want to highlight our sponsor today, Game Time. You guys should not have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. If you're trying to catch an upcoming Browns game, or you want to see a concert or another sporting event in your area, Game Time is the place to visit first. Now, what I love about Game Time is the ability to get last-minute tickets for the lowest price. Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. Buy tickets in seconds with 2 taps. It's the place to find last-minute seats. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code BROWNSCHAT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account and redeem that code BROWNSCHAT for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. I put that link in the comments and description of today's video. So, you're wondering, what do the Browns have to do to win the AFC North? Well, they are 2 games back from the Ravens. They split the head-to-head, so toss that out the window for a moment. But if I'm looking at the remaining schedule, the Browns either A, could go 4-0, beat the Bears, Texans, Jets, and Bengals. Not too unrealistic. Like, none of those teams have a better record than Cleveland. The Browns are going to be favorites against the Bears. They already are. Good chance they could be favorites in Houston. Home favorites against the Jets. Maybe favorites barely at Cincinnati on the road. The Ravens, they don't play a team below 500 the rest of the way. They go to Jacksonville, a team that's dropped 2 in a row. So the Jags are hungry for a win. They go to the best team in the NFL right now, in my eyes, the San Francisco 49ers. Then they come back and play the Dolphins, one of the best offenses. And they round out the season in Pittsburgh, a place that's never easy for Baltimore. So if the Browns go 4-0, and the Ravens in that stretch go 2-2, Cleveland will win the AFC North. So the Browns sort of hold their own fate, but not really. Like, I don't think it's asking too much for the Ravens to go 2-2 in that stretch, right? To finish the year 12-5. Whereas the Browns going 4-0 is definitely not an easy, simple thing to do. But if I'm picking which one of these two things is more likely, I feel like the Ravens going 2-2 is much more likely than the Browns going 4-0. And so if that's the harder thing to accomplish, like, if that's the thing you don't have control over, I'll take it. Now, let's say the Browns go 3-1, drop one of those 4 games, and the Ravens go 1-3. It's complicated because they would finish with the same amount of wins, 11 wins. But then it comes down to tiebreakers. And the tiebreakers also apply to them having the same amount of wins that they have 12. But here are the tiebreakers if you've got 2 teams with the same record. Head-to-head. Toss it out. It's a draw. Division record. Okay, this is where it gets a little bit spicy. Let's say the Ravens go 1-3. However, their one win is against the Steelers. Well, if the Browns go 3-1 and their one loss is to the Bengals, the Ravens are going to have a better AFC North record, and that would put them ahead. But if the Browns go 3-1, their one loss is to the Bears. It's not even an AFC loss, which is the 4th division tiebreaker. Well, Browns go 3-1 with the loss to the Bears. The Ravens go 1-3 with a win against the 49ers or something. Browns actually leapfrog Baltimore and take over the AFC North. So 1-3 for the Ravens does not seem too likely. I don't think they're going to fall apart that much. I don't see why they can't lose to the 49ers and maybe in Week 18 in Pittsburgh give Mike Tomlin his 9th win because God forbid he goes below 500. I think that's not out of the realm of possibility. Can the Browns go 4-0? That is something that's a much bigger question to have here. All right, third element here of a playoff path. You want the 1 seed. You sick fuck. All right, let's talk about the possibility of the Browns getting the 1 seed. It's more than just this. But to keep it simple, I'm going to water it down. I think the Browns have to win out. They could get the 1 seed technically with 11 wins because no one's at 12 wins right now. But I don't think the 1 seed is going to go to an 11-win team. So the Browns win out, and they finish 12-5. Okay? That's step 1. Step 2. The Ravens either win 0 or 1 games. Because if the Ravens win 2 games, they're at 12 wins with the Browns, and then it can get a little bit dicey with some tiebreakers. So let's just say Baltimore wins 0-1 games. Okay? Step number 3. The Dolphins, they win 1 or 2 games. Miami currently at 9-4. If they were to win 2 games, they go to 11 wins. They win 3 games. You got a tie between the Browns and the Dolphins. And all the playoff simulators I saw, if the Browns and Dolphins are tied at 12 wins, the Dolphins get the tiebreaker. 4th thing, the Dolphins win 0 or 1 AFC East games. So remember when I said about tiebreakers? Yeah, it also applies if you're not in the same division. And the Dolphins have only lost 1 game so far in the AFC East. Now, if they were to beat the Jets or beat the Bills at the end of the season, that's going to give them a better AFC East record, and that would give them a win over or tiebreaker over the Browns at 12-5. And finally, the Chiefs win either 0 to 3 games. Kansas City has an absolute cupcake schedule coming up. It's already kind of cupcakey, and they've dropped 2 games, but it's going to get a lot easier for KC, believe me. So this is your 5-step path for the Browns to get the number 1 seed. Step 1 is win out. Step 2 is the Ravens win either 0 or 1 game. The Dolphins don't win more than 2 games. The Dolphins don't win more than 2 games in the AFC East. And the Chiefs win 0 to 3 games. If you want a home playoff game, though, type CLE. Something this fan base has not seen in decades. So you know what? I always love to know who watches all the way to the end of the video. So selfishly, this is my way of knowing who the MVPs of the channel are. So type CLE down below if you want a home playoff game. I said at the beginning of the show, I was going to give you guys my predictions, and here they are. I think the Chiefs are going to do what the Chiefs always do. They are going to win their next 4 games to silence all of the doubters because they have done this time and time again. I think the Ravens go 2-2 in the next stretch. They go 12-5. They lose on a tiebreaker to KC, and they get the 2 seed. I think the Dolphins are going to win 2 more games and finish 11-6. I think the Jags are going to finish 10-7, also winning 2 more games. The Broncos are going to finish 10-7 along with the Browns and the Bills. Now, why is Denver 5? Denver's got the head-to-head over Cleveland and Buffalo. So the Broncos finish number 5. The Browns finish going 2-2 in the final 4 games, getting the 6th seed, putting them on a collision course to play the Dolphins in the first round of the playoffs. Not an easy place to go to. And then finally, number 7, the Bills somehow squeak in because I don't think the Steelers are going to do it. I don't think the Bengals are going to do it. I don't think the Colts are going to do it. I don't think the Texans are going to do it. I would take Josh Allen over all those teams right now to figure it out in the last month of the season. And in case you're wondering, here's what I have going for the NFC. The 49ers are the best team in football right now. I've got them, and who beat them, by the way? I've got them finishing at the top 14-3 with a tiebreaker head-to-head over Philly. I have the Detroit Lions going 12-5. The Falcons winning the NFC South going 9-8, having them play the Cowboys, who won 13 games, but unfortunately they've got a tough schedule coming up, whereas the Eagles get to play the Giants twice. So Dallas goes to number 5, 13-4. The Rams, that's my sleeper team for the playoffs. They go 9-8. They get the 6th seed, and the Seahawks squeak in at 9-8, getting the final spot over the likes of the Vikings and the Packers. So let me know what you think of my playoff prediction down below in the comments section. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have not subscribed, please go ahead and do so. We're going to keep you guys informed all season long. What's going on, everyone? Thank you, sir. Tim Green, Browns, Lions, Super Bowl. That's what America wants. A Browns-Lions Super Bowl.
That would be the best Super Bowl ever. That would be awesome.
I think both teams would deserve to this
win.
Is the most
both
loser
of them
talk
should
ever.
Get a ring. They should both get a ring and both.
I'll tell you right now, if Browns-Lions play in the Super Bowl, it's going to overtime.
It has to.
It has to.
There's no way the NFL won't let that happen.
I could also see it being like an awful game. Like, in the way of like 2 franchises that have been objectively not very good the last 2 decades. They meet in the Super Bowl. They have a great season. And when the lights are the brightest, it's 9-6 Cleveland.
Yeah.
Dustin Hopkins.
Say 10-7 game.
Yeah. So, I could see that happening.
That's hilarious.
Cool guy. My bad about that. We'll fix that. I think something was wrong with the Browns schedule part. Okay. We'll fix the Bears part. Might be. I messed up. All right. Mailbag coming up next, though. Hashtag Browns or Super Chat. So, if you want to get on the show and you want to support the show, Super Chats are great. They help keep the lights on, as always. But if you're unable to Super Chat, no harm, no foul. Make sure you use hashtag Browns in the live chat so producer Trace can pull the question. He just said that we need more questions. So, if you have any question at all under the sun related to the Browns or just, I don't know, about the NFL, hashtag Browns in the chat. You have to use hashtag Browns. That's not a request. That's a requirement. If you don't put hashtag Browns, the computer does not read the chat and pull it. So, hashtag Browns in the chat for any questions you guys have. Favorite Christmas movie? Okay, we'll end the show with those. We need some more meatier questions. Pancakes, we'll see you later, buddy. You got Denise Graham. I saw Joe Flacco and his kids at first watch. Did you really? I think I've always been interested in if I ever got to interview an NFL player, I don't think I'd actually ask about their stats or something. I'd be a little bit more interested about their routine and what it's like to be an NFL player the day, like when you get traded, like where do you live? What do? You live in a hotel? Just stuff like that I've always been curious about. We got a super chat coming in from Joshua Miller. Love it. I'll throw it on screen right now. Love watching Coach Stefanski animated and engaged. Dude, the clips of Stefanski in the locker room after wins, I mean, it's goosebumps, right? It is, I'll run through a brick wall for this guy type of stuff right now. We were missing that, I feel like, the first 1, 2, 3 seasons. We're seeing Stefanski, and this is crazy to think about for a moment, so just bear with me for a second. The longer he's been doing this, just maybe, the better he gets at it. Did I go too far there? I think we're seeing Stefanski in year 4, bear with me, improve like players do, right? So I love what we're seeing out of Coach right now. We'll start with the first one he said. Okay. Are we ready to jump into the mailbag? So get those questions in right now. Hashtag Browns or Super Chat. Josh, our Super Chat MVP of today's live show. Thank you so much. Everyone spam Josh in the chat right now. All right, let's get into it. We're at 84 likes. Can we get one more like? 85 likes, please. Okay. Trace, can you get some shout outs really quickly? I gotta check something out.
All right. Everyone who's typing Josh is getting a shout out. So shout out to Ty Man the Buckeye, Yusuf, Ken G. Ty Man's the MVP for typing Josh the most. Ty Man also typing who dat. Thanks,
Okay.
brother.
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
You're gonna laugh when I tell you what this is after the show. All right, here we go. Mailbag time here on the Cleveland Browns Report, answering questions asked during our live show, which airs every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So make sure to tune in next week to get your question on screen as corn dogs, Jackie, corn dogs for all these people. I saw on Twitter that the Browns should go after Mike Williams. Thoughts? That is an interesting thought. Mike Williams unfortunately had his season cut short due to another injury, and that's sort of been the on and off issue for Williams all of his NFL career. But Mike Williams had that breakout 2021 season, came at a good time as he was, I believe, entering the last year of his contract, got the franchise tag momentarily, if I remember correctly, and then he signed, I think, a 3-year contract. So I think he still has 1 more year under contract, although I wouldn't be blown away if the Chargers decide to move on from Williams. If we're thinking about receivers that mesh well with Deshaun Watson, it's the big body jump ball kind of guys. My concern is there is a track record of Mike Williams missing a lot of football. And availability is the number one ability in my opinion. So I would have some hesitancy to signing Mike Williams if the Chargers do release him, which has to happen. I definitely don't want to trade a lot for Mike Williams. If you can get him for a 7th round pick, sure, why not? But if it's going to cost you an arm and a leg and that's your marquee free agent signing, I would go look other places. But let me know, would you add Mike Williams, whether it's via trade or he's released by the Chargers? Chime in for me down below in the comment section. Ryan Chowdhury, what's going on, dude? Do we sign Jacoby Ford or Joe Flacco next? Jacoby Brissett or Joe Flacco next year as the backup, or stick with DTR? That's a great question, Ryan. I would say stick with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Joe Flacco is doing amazing stuff right now. I don't know if he's interested after year 16 to come back and serve as a backup, right? He's a pretty competitive dude. I think he wants to go somewhere where, I mean, he definitely wanted to be on a roster this year, but I don't know if he wants to be a backup, like, guaranteed. You know what I mean? Like, at least with Zach Wilson, the Jets, there was a little bit of like, hey, we kind of need you. We don't really know what we have in Wilson. With Watson, that's not really an option. So I would say stick with DTR. Don't panic. It's not like DTR was bad, by the way, in the Broncos game or in the Steelers game. He looked like a rookie QB who was honestly just getting better and better by the game. So I would lean towards number 17. Joshua Miller with a $5 super chat. Week 18, wild card spot locked up, but have a chance for the division title. Do we go all out for the division or rest for first round due to injuries? So I think in this hypothetical, Josh is asking, the Browns had the number 5 spot as an AFC wildcard team sewed up. But do they go for the whole thing and try and win the AFC North? I would go for the whole thing and try and win the AFC North. Yeah, injuries suck, and the Browns have, had more than their fair share amount of injuries this year. But at the same time, the Browns on the road are a whole different team than the Browns at home. And if you want to go to the playoffs, you want to just check the box, hey, we made the playoffs. Cool. Rest your starters. If you want to compete in the playoffs, well, that's got to happen in Cleveland. That's got to happen in front of the dog pound. That's got to happen in front of this fan base. So that means playing your guys in Week 18, trying to win the division. Oren Smith, do you think that injuries will come Myles Garrett's way? I sure fucking hope not, dude. I mean, he's already kind of dealing with an injury. He suffered that shoulder injury, right, back in the Broncos game, and didn't record a single stat or anything in the Rams game afterward. And he definitely got a little bit more going in the Jags game, but I think no one is safe from injuries. Like, I always thought, listen, in the NFL, there just are certain guys who are Ironmen, and they don't get injured, right? They don't go on season-ending injuries. I thought Nick Chubb was one of those guys. And then we saw Chubb go down. And that was like one of those eye-opening moments like, dude, no one is safe. Like, anyone can go down with a season-ending injury. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that Myles Garrett will stay healthy the rest of the season. All right, before we get on to the rest of today's show, I do want to highlight our terrific sponsor, which is Waterboy. Holidays are here, and Waterboy is here to help you prepare for those nasty holiday hangovers. There's nothing worse than feeling like the Grinch while everyone else in the family is rocking around the Christmas tree. Waterboy is a hydration powder scientifically formulated to cut your hangover time in half. There are other hydration packs on the market, but nothing comes close anywhere close to fighting those Sunday scaries like Waterboy. Maybe the best part about Waterboy, by the way, is how amazing it tastes. Their most popular flavors include strawberry, lemonade, lemon lime, and blue raspberry. You're actually going to want to drink these. Hundreds of thousands of people already trust Waterboy as their hangover cure. It's time to stop dealing with the anxiety alone. For a limited time, my listeners get an exclusive 15% off discount with our link at waterboy.com/chatsports. That's 15% off at waterboy.com/chatsports. It's time to ho hydrate this holiday season. And because I love you guys so much, I put that link to make it easy on you in the comments and description of today's show. But don't be the guy who's the Grinch and hungover the day after Christmas or so. No, fuel up with Waterboy at waterboy.com/chatsports. Ken G, longtime viewer of the channel, what's going on, man? Does Stefanski win Coach of the Year if the Browns go deep in the playoffs? Coach of the Year is a regular season award, so it's not going to have any impact on that. I think if you're looking at Coach of the Year right now, the big names like a week ago or so were Dan Campbell and Mike McDaniel. Dan Campbell just lost to the Bears. Mike McDaniel just lost to the Titans. Kevin Stefanski is at 8-5, and he's missing starters all over the field, including his quarterback, his running back, his left tackle, his right tackle, his backup right tackle, and I haven't even talked about the defense yet. So, call me biased. If Kevin Stefanski can get this injury-plagued team to 10 wins this year, I would say that was the best coaching job. Put Dan Campbell, put Mike McDaniel in Kevin Stefanski's shoes, they don't get to 10 wins. I don't believe they do. But Kevin Stefanski is doing an incredible job. So I think regardless of the playoffs, if he can get this team to 10-7 with all the injuries they sustained, I mean, that's not just limping into the playoffs. That's winning 10 games. That's not getting the 7 seed. Talking about even winning the division with 10 games. All right, well, probably not the division, actually. Ravens have 10 already. But still, getting a lot of wins. Lil Beam, What would it cost to bring back Harrison Bryant and Jordan Elliott? Harrison Bryant's probably going to get a 1-year, $3 million contract. Jordan Elliott's going to sign a similar deal like Taven Bryan signed with the Browns, which, off the top of my head, Taven Bryan signed like a 1-year, $5 million contract. Let me see what Taven Bryan signed, because I think those two are in similar spots, although Elliott's playing a lot better right now than what Taven Bryan was doing his last year in Jacksonville. Taven Bryan, his last year with the Jags, well, he just signed a 1-year, $3.5 million contract. He signed a 1-year, $4 million deal with the Browns. So I think Elliott will probably get about 4, maybe 4.5 if he's really lucky. Bryant's going to get 1 year, $3 to $4 million, which are both feasible for Cleveland. Joshua Miller, what tackles are out there now that we can work out and possibly sign 1 or 2? Can't lose another tackle. There's definitely an injury problem for the Browns right now. Off the top of my head, La'el Collins, who is historically a right tackle. Well, you kind of need a right tackle because James Hudson is awful. He has played the worst football of any tackle so far this year. That's about it. Like, there's some other names that you probably never heard of, and I'm sure the Browns will bring some of these guys in for a workout, but potentially by the time you're watching this, they've already brought someone in, and maybe they've already signed someone, but La'el Collins would be my number 1 target if I'm the Browns. Shane Falco, bring back Joe Flacco in 2024? I don't think so. I'm going to let this high ride the rest of the way, and I don't want to have that great 2023 season spoiled by not going out well on top. So I'm very content with rolling back next year with Deshaun Watson and Dorian Thompson-Robinson, your quarterback room. I'm not going to panic on Watson, and I'm not going to punt on DTR after his rookie season when, honestly, he got better as the season went along. So I think he can improve going into year 2. But let me know, should the Browns bring back Joe Flacco in 2024? Type R for return, type W for let him walk. I think we'll have a better answer when the season is over. But right now, I'm okay with going with Watson and DTR and some other QB to add to your practice squad. James Lehman, do you think Aaron Rodgers will play against the Browns in Week 17? I don't. I just don't think the Jets are going to be in contention. I think the Jets are right where they were last year, right? And the Jets last year, after Week 14, had 7 wins. They ended the season with 7 wins. So good for them for beating the Texans, but no. I don't think Rodgers was ever all that serious about coming back. I think Rodgers just kind of wanted to prove that, and you might know why, science is not always right. Tim Harsh, next one up, dude. What's your favorite Christmas movie not titled Die Hard? Favorite Christmas movie not titled Die Hard? I mean, Christmas Vacation's definitely up there. Jingle All the Way is a sneaky good movie. And there's one with Matthew Broderick that I like a lot, but the name is escaping me at the moment. Deck the Halls. So those are like Jingle All the Way and Deck the Halls are 2 of my favorite ones. And then I love Christmas Vacation. Brownstown, Petey, who do you think winning the national championship for college? So part of me thinks Nick Saban's just going to casually win a natty because it's Nick Saban. That's what he does. And I remember in October, September even, saying that. And I was looked at crazy after the Texas game. And I was like, hey, as a Tennessee fan, I have been down this road before where Bama might not look like usual Bama, and then they waltz into the national championship game. So I think Bama's going to take down Michigan, but I think Michigan's the better team. And then on the other side, I think we're going to see Washington beat Texas. I think everyone's picking Texas because it's Texas. And Washington's not usually a player in the college football realm. But I think Washington's a really good team. Like, if Michael Penix was an SEC quarterback this year, he would have won that Heisman. But an undefeated SEC QB with similar stats to Jaden Daniels. So I think we're going to see Alabama, Washington in the championship. And it's probably going to be Bama. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate everyone who carves out time of their day to come hang out with us here at the channel. Make sure to subscribe if you have not already. I really don't want Bama to win. I really don't. That's going to be my nightmare. Bama wins. That's going to be my Fire Fest. Let's see. Pancakes has returned. Jacob Smith, what's going on, bud? Matt St. John. We got Ty Man saying Alabama. Matt St. John saying bear down. Ty Man the Buckeye. Alabama winning the championship and being the champions. Yes on Flacco from Tim Green if you want to win. I mean, they're 1-1 with Flacco. Let's not say they're undefeated with Joe Flacco. Let's see. Walk Deshaun Watson is going to be back and DTR is going to improve. I'm kind of in that same camp right now. Do I think they're going to sign Ndamukong Suh to make a playoff run? It's a possibility. I think the more likely thing is we're going to see what we have in Siaki Ika, right? The third-round pick who has not played a snap this year because he's been a healthy scratch every single week because Maurice Hurst, Jordan Elliott, Dalvin Tomlinson, and Shelby Harris have been your top 4 DTs, and none of them deserve to have a game taken away from them just for the sake of seeing what the rookie can do. Well, now that you have an injury, we're going to find out what the rookie can do, who's been practicing all season long. So I think we're going to see Siaki Ika before we see Ndamukong Suh. Okay, that is going to do it for us on today's show, unless we get another super chat in. Are you going to go trivia tonight? Yeah. Not sure yet? So, I'm trying to think if I can share a trivia question. I made a good trivia game for tonight. No, it's okay. I'm trying to think of one. They're kind of tough to say with like quick answers in the chat. You know what I mean? Trying to think of a good one. I've got it. No, it's a bad one. Okay. Here we go. I had nothing. That was a bad case of blue balls from the chat. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate everyone who comes in every single Tuesday to come hang out with producer Trizzy and myself. So we're going to let you guys go. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night. We'll see everyone tomorrow. And I want to say fingers crossed that there will be no injury news tomorrow. But tomorrow's going to be the first day of the official injury report for Week 15. There's going to be injury.